Hello everyone, my name is Arvind Panda. I am a fourth year student from UPS Dehradun. Currently, I am working as a legal intern in Lexus & Company for the month of June. And today in this video, I am going to talk about insolvency and bankruptcy practice in India. So, to start with our topic, let us first understand the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Act is a consolidated code which is conferred in entry 9 of list 3 of the 7th schedule of the Constitution of India. The main objective of the court is to make the process of insolvency a corporate person, a partnership firm, or an individual, a creditor driven in a time bound manner. It is to be noted that with respect to 2017, the code is made applicable to personal guarantors of the corporate as well. The objective of the code extend to the formation of an insolvency and bankruptcy board of India, which will oversee the work of insolvency and bankruptcy of corporate person, firms and individuals. The term corporate person has been defined under section 3 clause 7 of the code. That is, a corporate person in a company is defined as clause 20 of the section 2 of Companies Act. Also, a limited liability partnership is defined in clause n of subsection 1. So, however, it is important to note that the aforesaid definition does not include a financial service provider, and as bank financial institutions such as NBFCs, insurance company, asset construction company, mutual fund, collective investment schemes, and pension fund. Therefore, they cannot be sued under the code. Now, let us talk about the step 1, that is identification of occurrence of default. The first step of being taken up before filing an insolvency application in National Company Law Tribunal is to check whether there has been a default. The term default has been defined under section 3 and explained under section 7 of the code as non-payment or non-remittance in respect of the financial debit. However, it must be noted that this debt may not only be owned to be the applicant financial creditor but can be owned to any other financial creditor of the corporate debtor. Once the corporate debtor has been declared insolvent and CIR commences, once the default has been established, the counsel of the applicant must check whether a CIRP has been initiated with respect to the corporate debtor on the IBBI website. Now, the step 2 is identification of the kind of creditor. So, there are two kind of creditor who may file an application under the Act. The creditor who may avail the benefit under the Act are firstly, financial creditor. Financial creditor is a person whom a financial debt is owned and in nature of money lent by banks or financial institutions. Debt raised by acceptance of credit notes, debt pursuant or purchase of debenture. Now, the second is operational creditor. Operational creditor is a person to whom an operational debt is owed in the nature of claim of debt arising in a series of transactions. Now, the third is corporate applicant. Corporate applicant is a corporate debtor or its advice representative. So now let us talk about the third step. Third step is appointment of insolvency personnel. So an insolvency personnel is a professional who is registered with the IBBI and are members of the insolvency professional agency. Now, coming to step 4. Step 4 is the process of filing in NCLT. After preparation of the draft of application under section 7, 8 and 9 of the same is filed physically as well as electronically before the NCLT. Now, the filing process as well as the document required are filing the application also change from time to time. Now, after the application is filed in NCLT, the next step, that is step number 5 is of acceptance of the application by NCLT and issue of notice. The court need to be satisfied that there is a default and the corporate debtor is insolvent in order to declare an entity as insolvent and give a moratorium. Once the insolvency application is accepted by the court at the request of applicant, the court issue a notice to the corporate debtor and come before the court on the next date of hearing. Now, which is followed by the step number 6, that is insolvency resolution. The insolvency professional appointed by the applicant takes over the insolvency process of the corporate debtor. As soon as moratorium begins, the IRP makes a public announcement for calling other creditor and forms a committee of all the creditor. Now, let us come to the conclusion of this video. The insolvency and bankruptcy practice in India boast of probably a single largest body of case law currently. There is no stability due to the frequent change in the legislature. However, the code has come in form of blessing for the creditors and financial institution. It has formulated the basic on insolvency practices in India. Insolvency is a lucrative practice and time-bound process. It has made the lives of many individuals and entities easy. So that's all for today's video. I hope you like it. Have a nice day. Thank you so much.